everybody, so exciting review for you guys today. An early review, we're going to be talking about Season 2 of The Boys coming soon to Amazon Prime Video. This show really took the world by storm last year with that first season because it was so great and so interesting of a show. So huge thank you to Amazon Prime, by the way, because I was so excited for this season, and I really have to thank them for supplying me with the screeners to talk about it with you guys. They did send me all 8 episodes. You're only going to get the first 3 episodes on September 4th, and then it's going to be 1 episode per week for the rest of the season. But I am going to make this a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about that. If you guys want, though, make sure to leave a comment, and I will probably do some spoiler-filled reviews for episodes 4 through 8, just because I can't really touch upon too many things in this, and I do love talking about this show, and there's a lot of crazy things that I'm not allowed to talk about. But I think that Season 2 is yet again another fantastic season of the show. The writing, once again, is the main standout here, filled to the brim with all the stuff that you love from the Season 1, the wit, the charm, the superhero satire, and the violence that we all love from Season 1. Just in most categories, everything's ramped up even further, especially in the gore department, because there's some really brutal moments that, I mean, I expected it just from how gory the first season was, but I think they made it even more violent for Season 2. They really amped it up there. The stakes are much higher in Season 2, as all of them are fugitives now, so they have to be a little bit more careful as they try and take down the Supes. Not just those Supes either, as we're dealing with Supe terrorists as well. You know, tensions flare up between the members in The Boys, but also tensions are flaring up in Vought as well, just because they have a PR nightmare on their hands after what happened at the end of last season. Fortunately, Stan Edgar once again shows up, played by Giancarlo Esposito. He had that brief cameo at the end of Season 1, kind of to set him up for a bigger role in this season. Giancarlo Esposito is an amazing actor, and once again, he is playing this calm, cool, collected villain that he does so perfectly in so many things, like, you know, Gus in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and also, you know, Moff Gideon and The Mandalorian. This is another excellent role for him. He's just so cool yet intimidating every time he is on screen throughout this season. Other than the amazing high-octane action that we do get throughout the season, the other thing I absolutely love is the progression for all of our characters. Obviously, they're now much more established, but we're still getting some backstory on some of the different characters throughout the season. Without going into too many details, I think Billy Butcher is one of the best examples of that, as we get a little bit more of his backstory and also just different things as he's trying to also still find his wife and stuff along those lines. Karl Urban is just great in this role. I mean, he's such a scene stealer every time he's on screen. I think for the most part, he probably is my favorite character, if I'm being honest. Also, many of the other characters have some really interesting backstories filled in as well. You know, Frenchie, MM, Kimiko, I mean, she's one of the standout performances. Even though she has, like, no dialogue because she can't speak, basically, she still conveys so much emotion, and I can't talk about her story arc too much because there is a lot of spoiler elements for her arc that you're going to find out very early on in those first couple episodes. But it's great. I think she's one of the more underrated elements of this cast. Karen Fukuhara, once again, does a really great job. And the evolution of her character is just so seamless and so perfect that I think you're going to really enjoy it. Starlight as well also has quite the evolution throughout this season as she's trying to incorporate herself back into the Seven after what happened with A-Train. Like I said, can't talk about it too much, but I think that the Starlight development is a really interesting one. As far as the other Supes go, Homelander, once again, is a really bad guy. I mean, as we saw last season, he was probably the worst of all of the Supes in the Seven, and it's no different here for the most part. He actually does go through quite an evolution, though, because he is quite terrible, but as you saw the revelation from last season that he actually fathers a kid with Billy Butcher's wife, now he actually is trying to be a father figure to this child, and I guess in a sense kind of making up for him not really having a childhood. So there actually are some weird tender heart-to-heart moments that he attempts to have with this son, and it's a very odd contrast just because he's such a terrible person, but he does actually somewhat open up sometimes when he's around him. Now we really have to talk about the newest member of the Seven, Stormfront. I am aware that in the comic books that's actually a man, but they gender swapped it. It really doesn't change too much about the character, in my opinion. I actually think she's really terrible as well. I mean, she's just as bad, if not worse, in many aspects as Homelander. She's brash, radical, she's a master manipulator, really bad influence on all the other members of the Seven. She's just a really downright despicable person, and as her story unfolds throughout the episodes, as we learn more about her backstory, you really get to see just how terrible she truly is. Aya Cash does a really great job playing her, though. I've never seen her in anything, if I'm being honest, but I think this is a really great role for her, and I'm hoping that we'll see more of her in in other things, not even just The Boys, but in other projects. I think she really did a really great job with this. As far as things I'm not a really big fan of with these episodes in season 2, there is this redemption arc going on as a storyline for the Deep, and I just don't really think it was needed. I mean, I don't mind Chase Crawford as the Deep. I think he does a fine job, but I think his storyline really detracts from a lot of those storylines that are actually much more interesting, and it really feels like they don't really know what to do with his character or A-Train, because they really aren't focused on too much through the season. It just feels like they're kind of in the background, and they kind of just have nowhere else to put them, but they don't want to get rid of them entirely, so they're just going to have them have this random storyline that really doesn't connect too much to the main storylines going on. But I mean, Jesse T. Usher is also good. It's just he's not really a main focus anymore after the end of season 1. I know it does suck that you don't get all 8 episodes at once, so you can't binge the whole season in a weekend, but I actually do think it is smart of Amazon Prime to give you the first 3 episodes on September 4th, because it does take a little bit to ramp up. They're still entertaining episodes, but I think the story gets going and is really good by middle of the 2nd episode, and all of the 3rd episode leading into the end of the 3rd episode is going to really leave you wanting more to find out what happens next after the end of episode 3. It has a really interesting cliffhanger. I guess I'll describe it in that way. You're gonna have to tune in and find out, because it's pretty brutal. The whole season is quite brutal. Like I said, there's a lot of violence, but it's one of the more brutal moments of the show. Tail end of episode 3. But those are just my quick spoiler-free thoughts on season 2 of The Boys. It's another fun, action-packed, high-octane season. It's really wild. Like, some of the moments in this, they're pretty crazy. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. If you love the first season of The Boys, I think you're going to have just as much fun, if not more, checking out this season 2 over the course of the next few weeks. It's pretty crazy. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite shows on streaming, and I think that it's just so much fun to talk about. So let me know in the comment section down below, when you check out the show, what did you think of these first 3 episodes? Are you excited for the rest of the season? Make your predictions, because we can talk about this show all day. I mean, there's so many crazy twists and turns through every episode that is a really fun show to discuss. So make sure to leave your comments in the comment section down below. I may do some spoiler reviews for the upcoming episodes, because obviously you get the first 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are episodic each week. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you as always for checking my reviews. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with my movie reviews, channel reactions, unboxings, and more. For the next time, I'll see you guys later.